Blade is one of the coolest vampire series ever created, and in today's video I'm going to go through his origin story, so let's not waste any time and get started. Blade, also known as Eric Brooks, is a half-human, half-vampire hybrid and the main character of the whole franchise. In this video, we will explore Blade's powers, abilities and the character arc as it builds and develops, using the movies for reference along with the accompanying artwork. Blade's unique status as a half-vampire gives him a wide range of powers and abilities that set him apart from both humans and vampires combined. He possesses enhanced strength, speed, agility and endurance, which make him a formidable opponent in combat. His senses are so heightened to the point where he can hear even the slightest sound and see in near total darkness. One of Blade's key abilities is his ability to regenerate quickly from injuries. He can heal from severe wounds and broken bones in a matter of seconds, and he is nearly immune to most forms of illness and disease. This regenerative ability gives him a significant advantage in combat and allows him to take on even the most powerful opponents. Blade is also immune to most vampire weaknesses, such as sunlight. He is able to walk in the daylight and can handle most weapons without being burned or injured. However, he is still vulnerable to silver, which can cause significant damage to his regenerative abilities. Brooks is a skilled fighter and weapons expert, with expertise in a wide range of combat styles and weapons. In addition to his physical abilities, Blade is also highly intelligent and resourceful. He is an expert in vampire lore and has a deep understanding of their culture and history. This knowledge allows him to anticipate their movements and plan his attacks accordingly. The first movie really represents the Blade we get from the original comics. He is a lone wolf who operates outside of the law and trusts no one. However, as the series progresses, he begins to rely on the support of others and forms alliances with other vampire hunters and even some vampires. Blade's relationship with other vampires is complex and nuanced. He is often at odds with vampires who see him as a threat to their existence, but he has also formed relationships with vampires who challenge his preconceived notions about their species. Blade's relationship with his mentor Whistler is a key aspect of his character arc throughout the films. Whistler is a father figure to Blade, and their relationship is one of mutual respect and admiration. However, their relationship is also complicated by the fact that Whistler is a human who is fighting against vampires, while Blade is a hybrid who is caught between the two worlds. His character arc from the films is one of growth and that of redemption. He is haunted by his past and the fact that he is a hybrid, which leaves him feeling like an outsider in both the human and vampire worlds, with no real place for him to feel like he belongs. His quest for vengeance against vampires is driven by a desire to rid the world of the evil that took his mother from him. So let's take a look at Blade's origins, like his past, in detail. Blade's mother was called Vanessa. She was a nurse and was attacked and bitten by a vampire while she was in pregnancy. Eric was born while his mother was dying, inheriting the powers of a vampire without developing their weaknesses, except for the thirst. For a time, Eric was fed with butcher's blood and stolen blood from the hospital by his father. When it became apparent that Eric could not be contained and his thirst could not be satisfied, Robert, his father, called in Abraham Whistler, an expert vampire hunter. Eric realized the nature of his thirst after saving a man from criminals in the back room of his shop, where he believed his father died due to a gunshot wound. Eric broke Whistler's leg and ran off. However, Whistler rescued Blade from a street gang he was involved in and convinced him to train with him. Whistler then developed a serum that allowed Eric to hold off his vampiric thirst and taught him everything he knew about hunting, fighting, and killing vampires. Eric decided to change his name to Blade and has since gained infamy among vampires for his ability to walk in the light of day, often being called the Daywalker. Together, they become the most feared vampire hunters on the planet. Blade begins to develop a deeper understanding of the complexities of the vampire world as he ages. He learns that not all vampires are evil and that some are capable of redemption. This sheds the one-dimensional evil enemy stereotype that the vampires originally had. Years later, Blade is hunting Deacon Frost, a powerful young vampire, and begins destroying his vampire nightclubs as Deacon falls into the bad vampire category I just spoke about. Deacon's nightclubs are fitted with blood sprinklers, sending attendants into a blood-crazed frenzy. During an attack on one of the clubs, Blade badly wounded Quinn, one of Frost's retainers. He was interrupted by the police and did not finish the vampire off, opting instead to track him. Having tracked the vampire to the hospital, Blade found that Quinn had already bitten the two doctors who were examining the vampire. Seeing Dr. Karen Jensen and seeing a resemblance to his mother, he refrained from destroying her and took her with him instead, highlighting his sense of compassion despite his ice-cold, ruthless persona. Before I continue, I just want to repeat that I will use the movie's timeline as it covers a more sequential storyline than going through each comic, which would literally take forever. Anyway, let's continue. Blade decided to use Jensen as bait for Frost and let her go back home. There she was attacked by one of Frost's familiars, a police officer. Blade intervened and beat him ruthlessly, just to follow him again to the hideout of a vampire archivist named Pearl. This really demonstrates Blade's overall sense of control by not acting rashly, and like the ultimate hunter, the ultimate predator, allows smaller prey to lead him to the bigger prize by patiently gathering enough information first, something he learned from Whistler. Blade and Karen interrogated Pearl and found out Frost's plans regarding La Magra, a legendary vampire blood god. The two were then attacked by Quinn and Mercury, but managed to escape thanks to Whistler's arrival. Deacon knows the way to get to Blade is through Whistler. The reason Blade was so against any sort of partnership originally because of their emotional ties. When Eric is then out to get some serum from one of his allies, he comes back to the base and finds out that Karen has been kidnapped by Frost and Whistler has been bitten. Blade can't shoot his mentor, and so gives him the gun, letting him commit suicide. Enraged, Blade attacks Frost's mansion with the new weapon granted by Karen, the EDTA, a blood thinner that proves to be lethal to vampires. In here, Blade finds out that his mother is still alive as a vampire and that she's become one of Frost's lovers. Shocked, he's easily captured by Frost's men and taken to La Magra Temple. In here, he's put into a special sarcophagus that drained him of all his blood, which is the key for freeing La Magra. Exhausted, Blade is saved by Karen, who managed to free herself as well. The woman lets Blade bite her for regaining his strength, just in time for a fight with his mother, who he kills, which must have been incredibly difficult. With all of his abilities returned, Blade killed most of Frost's vampires, Quinn included, something I was really happy to see as Quinn really got under my skin. Credit to the actor who plays him for drawing out such an emotional response. Eventually he confronted Frost, who had become a vessel of La Magra. With his sword proving to be useless on the blood god, Blade attacked him with the EDTA, killing him. Finally, Blade and Dr. Karen Jensen exited from the temple, and Karen asked Blade if he wants to be cured. The cure would end Blade's thirst for blood, but also at the cost of losing his vampire strengths. Blade refused, wanting to continue his battle. He was later seen in Russia, pursuing a vampire. He was following the vampires who transformed Whistler and kidnapped him. In conclusion, he understands that he belongs to both worlds, but he gets to make the choice. The Blade franchise is just fascinating, and it's an engaging world that continues to captivate audiences to this day, and Blade remains one of the most iconic characters in the vampire genre. If you want me to continue Blade's story by covering the second and third movies, then let me know in the comments section below, as I want to make the content you want to see. Thanks for watching, make sure to look out for the next video. It just might be better than this one.